How has meeting a composer helped me? Without it, I could not do what I've done for the last 20 years, that's for sure. Hi, I'm Kevin Hibbard. I am an editor on the Emmy-nominated documentary Escaping Twin Flames. What I loved most about this documentary series was creating the world, because it was all online, and I don't think I've ever seen that done yet, where there were Zoom calls, personal interviews, Instagram, Facebook videos, and what I liked about that was trying to figure out a way to mold that world together and make it cohesive. Also, what I also loved about the documentary even more so was that these women who had the strength to come forward and tell their story, that's what I loved the most, was trying to make sure that their stories were honored. The reason why this episode was submitted for an Emmy was basically because it was the quintessential reason of what we were trying to tell in this documentary. That you were seeing firsthand the outright illegal things that this cult was doing, and so that's why I believe we thought it was the most important put forward to show that this is not acceptable and this is not what humanity is, I guess you would say. I was over the moon. I didn't, as an editor, you just think, well, I've put this out into the world and now we see what happens. I kind of just figured it had done its run, and so when we heard that it's still gaining traction, I was just, oh my gosh, this is amazing. My wife and kids were screaming for joy. Text messages from the whole entire group that helped put the show together. I was just amazed that we had gotten that far. The biggest challenge for making this documentary is it goes hand in hand with what I loved about the doc. The hardest thing was honoring these women's stories and making sure that their stories were told truthfully and honestly. There were so many things happening within the doc that couldn't make it into the doc because we had to just tell a cohesive story. When you're trying to go through thousands and thousands of hours of archival and stories, it's trying to grab just the bare necessities to make sure that people, a normal audience, can understand what a person is going through. My favorite thing about meeting a composer is script sync, and more importantly, it's because when you're sifting through hours and hours and hours and thousands of hours of footage, it's a quick search. You just have to type it. You just have to bring it up to the source window. I just hit that find script button and it appears right where I need it to be. I'm like, okay, I know in this area this person said this. I can type it in, find exactly where that person said it, and it'll go right to it. And that's amazing. It's a lifesaver. It takes about half the work out of your loads. How has meeting a composer helped me? Without it, I could not do what I've done for the last 20 years, that's for sure. In film school, we cut on film. It was at USC, and they were just transferring to the digital realm. So when I started on Avid, since having cut film, I knew Avid was cutting exactly like a film editor would cut film. And it kind of just sunk with me. I just understood. And ever since then, now we're able to do 1,000 times more with Media Composer, and now you're able to, leaps and bounds above that. But without that just general standing point, I couldn't have done anything. It makes me better. My advice to young editors, know Avid. You're only as good as your tools, so if you know Avid through and through, you'll be just fine.